Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Prairie Banana here with TGXen, the founder of pTGC. And as you know, we have been tracking some statistics for about, well, since February 10th. And in a spreadsheet, and periodically checking in, grabbing more statistics and doing comparisons. So we did this, a stream like this on March 30th or so. And we're doing one a little bit before the end of the month now on April 27th. And we'll probably do this again at the end of May or early June, just because I think TGXen is also a numbers guy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think you also work a lot with spreadsheets and such. So you kind of have to be a developer. But like I'm fond of saying, there's nothing like seeing numbers in black and white because the numbers don't lie. So do you have any initial thoughts or comments, TGXen?
No, I'm just happy to be up. I'm happy to look over the numbers. I really forget where we were at last month as far as the chart and price and stuff like that. But the one thing that we know is there's been more burned and more rewards paid out. So,
Yep. Okay. Well, that's another reason to, hey, we got 4 people in here. That's another reason to jump on a stream and look at the numbers because we forget where we were last month. And really, when I started this, I was like, oh, this thing's going to the moon. And it is. But I was like, I like to track and see the progress. And sometimes, we get a little sideways, which is how last month and this month has been. But there's still progress with pTGC, and you're going to see that. There's some interesting twists that have happened when I was getting this information together. And if I'm on my A game, I'll be able to notice them as we go through. So I'll just bring to the stage the first tab, which is user tracking, which for me is like where the rubber meets the road, like users. Okay, so let's just go through it. The number of stakers, and I got to stop saying that. I had to eliminate that from my vocabulary. I need somebody to stand here and slap me whenever I do it. That would help. I'm just kidding. Okay, so the stakers from the site yesterday had increased by 50 versus a month ago. And that's not a big difference, but there's been a lot of sideways action, so it's really no surprise. The holders from the site, however, increased by 398. Telegram members increased by 37. And what's interesting about Telegram, and TGXen, just jump in at any moment. What's interesting about Telegram is we went over 1,500. I want to say it could have been in February. No, it was probably March. And then we dipped below 1,500. And I think somebody must have went in there and called scammers or something like that because we went below 1,500. But now we're at, above 1,500 again. So we gained 37 in the month of April. Twitter followers, and that's the TGC account on Twitter, we gained 81. The eligibility minimum to submit proposals, and you can just connect your wallet if you're a staker, go to the DAO tab on the site and click on proposal, scroll all the way down, and you can see the minimum amount, the minimum, you can see the 100th holder. And yesterday he held 251 million pTGC. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm eager to be a proposal guy. Right now I'm not. So that's one of the reasons I track this. And you can kind of see when I first did this February 10th, the minimum was 226 and now it's 251. So it's increased. Do you have any comments on that, TGXen?
yeah. So I believe over time, it will probably, as far as token quantity, will probably decrease. But as far as value goes, it will increase.
Right.
So when we're 1, 2 years in, 3 years in, 4 years in, the quantity of tokens, I believe, will probably be less because people tend to scrape profits or, so on and so forth. but the dollar value will be more. So if you're out of it right now, like you just said you are, I don't know if you're close or not, but naturally, even if you didn't add more, since you're earning reflections, you're earning rewards, your number is going to increase.
Yes.
But then also the token amount to get up there probably is going to decrease also. So I'd say probably pretty soon you'll be making your way up there. And, you know, obviously if you're like a new person coming in, it might be harder in the future if price on pTGC has gone up, you know, 5x, 10x, because then it's going to cost that much more.
Right. Interesting. About 6 weeks ago, I could have submitted proposals for like less than a day. I was like, yes, I'm finally there. It didn't last long. I have some ground to cover, but I'm confident over time that I'll get there. It would be a benchmark, just a goal. And I would like to be able to submit proposals. Do I have one on my mind right now? No. I thought golf course. I thought that'd be a good one. So you probably know that Crypto Explained created a pTGC promotional video for us, and it's out this week. Well, we're going to track the number of views. So yesterday, there were 469 views of that video. Let's go see what there are now. It was 491 about 2 hours ago. 493. I have been, I have been dropping this video on Twitter when it's appropriate. So I just made a macro on my computer. I hit 2 keys, bam, it drops it in. So that's interesting. We have increased views, you know, about 20 plus people have seen this video since yesterday afternoon. So in less than 24 hours, about 20 people have watched that. And it'll be interesting to see where we're at next month. I wonder if we can have 1,000 views on that video by next month.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't watched it, once you watch it, you can obviously see that Crypto Explained put a ton of time into that video. It's so well done. I was beyond impressed by it. So I think the least we can do is just keep sharing it. You know, anytime that someone has a question about pTGC, that should be the first place we send them to before anything. Because that video, like I could give an elevator pitch or a spiel like about it real quick, but that does beyond what I can do with the visual images and everything just over and over again. So like that's going to be my go-to, just to, if anyone asks me about it, it's just like, let's start here. Let's watch the video. That's awesome because it's just a consistent base that's really well done of education for people. And then 2, the more views we can get on that video, the more that video is going to just naturally get spread throughout YouTube. For an example, if someone hears about pTGC, a lot of people will go to YouTube for some education. And it'd be awesome if the first video that pops up is just like that perfect educational video.
Yeah.
Because that's going to really help people.
Yes. Because when you're checking out a video, when you're looking into a project, do you really want to jump into an hour-long stream where only 5 minutes is talking about what's going on with the project? No, you want to pull up that 6-minute summary with images, and then you can just watch it a few times if you need to. And it might take you 20 minutes and you got it. That's the value of this video. So yeah, bookmark that video on your computer, in your Chrome or whatever. And then you can also, like, I put a little folder. I forget what you can do with these. With I think you can like save it to I made a little pTGC thing for on my YouTube, so I can keep that video handy because it's a handy tool, guys. I like it. All right, next tab is supply. I eliminated some stuff out of this one, guys. I was telling TGCen before we got on stream that This is, I mean, Prairie Banana goes crazy with these numbers and I really like it. But after a month, I forget where I was going with some things. So I did some elimination, but let's just kind of wing it through here. And we're going to talk about this. So this was the last time we did this whole block. This whole section was last month. And this next one is obviously this month. So the amount staked, the staked only decreased by about 2%. The burned supply was 723 million. Staked and locked increased by 1%. Burned from this, and this is from the site, increased by 0.2%. And I didn't get this one because I had a little bit of confusion. It was the end of the day and I was fatigued and tired, so I just skipped it. Circulating supply decreased by 723 million. Estimated burn for the next 6 months, and you can just find that right on the site, decreased by almost 1%. And there's something interesting in here I want to make sure I didn't overlook. The amount held from the site increased by 0.5%. I think that might be a function of people just wanting to hold the tokens because of anticipation of new projects, something like that.
Yeah, there's always going to be the people who are buying a project just due to them wanting to trade it, and then there's going to be the people who see the long-term value. There's traders and then there's investors. Investors are looking for long-term holds, good projects that are going to last this last time, and then there's the other side of crypto, which are the traders, where they don't care if the thing dies in a week, but they're looking for their 2x. I'd say, a lot of the people who just hold obviously are probably on the side that is more of the trader side.
Agreed.
Or people that don't like to interact with staking contracts and stuff like that, because like a lot of just in crypto, a lot of staking contracts take away the custody from their user, and then they send the tokens to a specific contract that then locks those contracts up away from the user. And that's how, I don't know why this is the route a lot of people go, but that's how in crypto a lot of people stake their supply for their users. But with pTGC, we adjusted that and changed that so pTGC remains in the user's wallet even though when they're staked. And
right,
that this is an issue in crypto when people come on to pTGC and they're like, hey, I staked, but why are the tokens still in my wallet? And it's just like, don't be upset about it. You should be happy about that. Yeah. Because every time, like, I can just count like countless and countless stories of people staking and then their tokens obviously going to a staking contract, but then that staking contract gets hacked and everyone loses all their tokens.
Wow.
And that's the reason I don't like staking contracts like that, because what that does is, like, for a hacker, you're putting all this value in one location, so then they only have to hack one location to get everyone's money. Kind of like when a bank robber robs a bank, they just have one stop and they get everyone's money at that one stop. But if you just let the users keep custody of their tokens, now there isn't that big light saying, rob me, rob me, rob me, because it's all in the custody of the users, instead of just locking everyone's money in one contract where a hacker just they could spend 1 year trying to hack that contract. As long as they get in once, they got everyone's money.
Yeah. Agreed. Another comment on the video, when you go to the video, I dropped the link in the chat, go there and like it and make a comment, even if it's great video, something like that. That will help the algorithm. I've been learning a lot about algorithms, and there's something that they are something that we need to work with. If we work against them, we'll be working against ourselves. And I tried to convey that in my video yesterday about effective use of Twitter. So where were we? Staked only decreased by 6 billion. The forecasted supply in 6 months would increase by 2.5 billion. Staked and locked increased by 3 billion. Total value locked decreased by 451,000. And that's just a function of the price. The liquidity pool increased by 0.1%. Now, isn't that interesting that the liquidity pool increased, but we expect that because of that 1% of the reflected tokens going to LP. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, is that you looking at PLP tokens themselves, or what are you looking at?
That is directly from the site. That's from the stats. Making sure I'm showing my screen here. That's from the supply, this chart right here.
Oh, okay.
The red. So it's 5
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, so how that works is that's the amount of pTGC that's in liquidity. So that's going to naturally go up or down as people buy and sell into the liquidity pools.
Oh, okay.
So as like, let's say people are, let's say pTGC is running up and people are buying in. Well, that liquidity, the pTGC in there is going to go down. Just because people are buying it out. They're putting their PLS in and getting the pTGC out. But in reverse, if price is going down, let's say people are taking profits, well, they're going to be putting their pTGC in and then taking PLS out. So the metric I like to look at is if you go over to like the PLS pair and then you put that pair address into Pulse Scan or whatever, you can see the amount of PLP tokens that are actually there. And I usually study the smart contract one, and you can see that that actually has an increasing amount of PLP tokens via the 0.5% fee built into pTGC. So you can see that the smart contract is adding more PLP tokens no matter what the price does.
Okay. I want to pause and address the question from Chris Crypto AI Corner. What are the returns compared to Hex? My comment, I want you to comment on this, but my comment is going to be, I don't know, but I would refer you to my channel. I recorded a video. It's like less than 2 minutes of B Roots talking about that. And it's on my channel. Just go to my channel and find that video. TGXen.
Yeah, so returns compared to Hex, they're completely two different animals. So you have to look at them as Hex's returns are guaranteed based on inflation. So it's a promised exact amount of tokens that you receive over time based on your amount, your length of lock and how much you've locked. But with pTGC, it's based completely on volume. And then we have metrics built into pTGC to increase that volume compared to a normal reflection token. Right now, I would have to do the math, but let's say users are earning roughly 10%, 20% a year. But the difference with pTGC is all those rewards are paid out with no inflation. So there isn't more tokens coming out that will bring down the price over the long term of pTGC. So pTGC is actually eliminating supply and paying out rewards at the same time. The one metric that still hasn't came into effect yet that I think will blow people's mind about pTGC is when the LP pairs that we have built our web with increase in price. Like we all know PLS is below SAC right now. Hex is less than a penny. PLSX is 5x below SAC rate. So all these things that we're paired to is highly undervalued. Once these things actually start moving up in price, our liquidity pools will move up in price, which will make our rewards move up in price because a lot of our rewards get paid out from the ARB bots. So let's say these liquidity pools move up 10x in size. Well, the ARB bots will have to now move 10x the money. which will now make it to where you are making 10x the rewards. So the rewards you're making right now, I think, is just not even comparable to what the rewards could be when this machine actually starts running on all cylinders. Because if you're making 10% now, once the liquidity pools go up 10x, your rewards are going to 10x. So you're actually going to be earning 100% APR with no inflation, with a decreasing supply of tokens. So it has all the metrics for price to go up, plus you're earning a huge APR, and that APR isn't based on anything but rewarding you based on volume. So there's no inflation whatsoever. And then you have to also remember, with every 2% of rewards that's paid out, there's actually more tokens going into the LP. So there's always going to be more value of PLS going into the LP to counteract the amount of rewards that are getting paid out. So there's never it's always going to be sustainable. So the math behind the protocol makes it so even though 2% is paid out, 3% is coming in. So there's always going to be something that's backing those rewards that are constantly getting paid out. With Hex, I mean, and I'm saying this in a positive. Hex is just a different animal. It's a zero tax token, so there's different things. But with Hex, rewards can get paid out every single day, but there can never be people adding LP. Let's say no one adds LP whatsoever. There's nothing backing those rewards that are inflating. And that's not a completely true statement, because obviously users and RH himself, in my opinion, is adding liquidity. But I'm just looking at it as like a math. I tried to build the protocol to just be completely math based. If we're paying out rewards, we want to make sure there's money for people to take profits with these rewards. So if we're paying out 2% in rewards to holders and stakers, let's make sure 3% has the opportunity to go into the PLP pools and the LP pools to back those rewards. So they don't bring down the price. If people need to take profits, the price still has the ability to increase.
Brilliantly said. Now I forgot where we left off, but the amount held from the site increased by 0.5%. I think we already covered all that. And then 450. And then, yeah, you have ended right there. Okay. Next screen. And thank you for that question. Chris, I dropped that video that I referred to by B-Roots in the chat. Prices, volume, and market caps. So here we are at April. This was the last time we did it. The price has dipped by whatever that is, whatever number that is. It's not a percent, but it is what it is. And everything has slowed down. Gwei yesterday at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Mountain Standard was 7. That's nuts. Everything in crypto, at least unless there's something on fire. I don't know of anything on fire. Everything's asleep. It's just where we're at. I don't know why, but it is. It's just a market cycle. And then the 7-day volume, and I just snapshot the 7-day volume of the pTGC and PLS pair, and it had decreased by 50,000, which is, a sizable percentage. Am I concerned? Absolutely not. TGCen, are you concerned about any of this?
Yeah, so those obviously are going to decrease in value just based on the prices of everything. You know what I mean? If PLS is coming down, it's going to bring everything down because everything's connected to PLS. If once PLS starts running, it'll be crazy how quick these things can tick up because everything's connected to PLS. So if PLS goes 2x, it doesn't only drag pTGC up, but it drags all the other items that pTGC is connected to as well up too, which just is awesome.
Yes. Yeah, we're excited for that. The market cap. I found this one. This is the little golden nugget I thought was interesting. So the market cap, although the price has dipped a little bit since we did this last, the market cap has actually increased by $150,000. This is last month, and here we are today. I found that. I think that's a function of we're burning pTGC. Is that correct?
Market cap went up, but you're saying liquidity went down, or?
No, yes, the market cap went up by a mere $150,000. But yeah, market cap, I forget the formula for market cap. It's so simple, but I know that the supply is one of the numbers. I think it's supply times tokens or something like that, or times price. And so,
yeah, supply times price, pretty much.
Okay, so even though the price is a little bit less than it was last month, because there are less tokens, the market cap still increased just a little bit, which I think is cool. Yeah,
I would have to look into that because really it should be including the burn address, so it should just be timesing it by the same amount.
Okay.
I wonder if just the market cap's a little delayed or something like that, because
Could be.
The market cap should be included, including that debt address.
Okay. Then the liquidity, this is from Deck Screener also, was 573,000. It decreased by 172,000. The number of transactions, I got a little bit funky with these numbers here. I actually had to divide this one by 7 to get that number. So, guys, I like the numbers, but it's all a little bit. It's very tricky. So take all of this with a grain of salt. This one definitely gives me pause because of the huge change. So I'm just going to skip over that one. The Dow funds, I find it interesting that the Dow funds, every time and it's not a big deal. I know they get used for, adding liquidity and that sort of thing, so they will zero out over time. But, the last 4 times I've taken a snapshot of it, it's always been about 30, 40 million pulse, which I think is pretty cool. And then the pulse price, obviously we're about half of where we were. Well, what date was that? On March 2nd. Yeah, we're less than half on the price where we were March 2nd. Oh, the pTGC recycling. I did not do all of this. So what I wanted to do, we're tracking a wallet. I want to just look at this 1 million pTG stake. So bear with me as I pull this up. We will see the amount of yield. It's only 1 million. But in the 30 days or so since we tracked this, it has garnered 1,726 from the 10-year lock. So 1 million is locked. It has gained 1,726 and 2,337 for staking. And then I think and then 1,455 in reflections. So if you add the locking yield, this would be just pure reflections for holding. And then this numbers, I'd say that's about 5,000 pTGC, which is not a whole lot today. It's not something to get super excited about, but again, this is only 1 million pTGC. So, I mean, you could figure out the APR on that, but I'm just not going to do that on stream. And average growth. This is TGXen. I kind of wanted to, this is a little bit moon mathy, but what I did is, and I think you've seen this before, I created this a couple of months ago. I went all the way back to October and I estimated the beginning price. And at the end of October, where was the price of pTGC then? It was 4X's. And then I did the same for all of these months, all the way through April. And you can see these are a negative, and that's fine. It's crypto. We all expect pullbacks. So the total number of X's would be 151X. Average X's per month. It used to be 5, now it's down to 4.62. And so if you wanted to forecast, if we did a 4.62x from today, following, which is that average, then by the end of May, we could be at 450, something like that. And then you could, extrapolate it all the way out to September, which I did. Like I said, that's a little bit moon mathy, but yeah, it's just based on the history of pTGC is all that is. So
yeah, I don't think that's too out of question. pTGC is a pretty small cup to fill. When you have a small cup to fill, it actually makes it to where a lot of people within the protocol can all be winners, especially when a lot of the value is not derived or brought in by new people coming in. People have actually found with pTGC is a lot of value is actually built by the liquidity web we set up as our utility. So when you have a small group of people and you have a utility that's actually not even user based, bringing in funds for the users, it actually creates a unique scenario where the small community you do have can all just be winners, instead of with other tokens or meme tokens. There's always a buyer and then a buyer and then a buyer, and what that creates is there has to be some group of people at the top that end up being the losers. So I think with pTGC, how tight knit it is right now, it doesn't take much for us to do a 4x. And why I say that is I believe PLS is good, can do those numbers of X's on a monthly basis, and that would bring pTGC up those X's on a monthly basis alone. That doesn't even include our tokenomics that we have built in, the community that we've been building, the functions that we have built together, the fact that we've been actually trending up against Pulse Chain since our launch, if you look at the average. Yep. So I wouldn't say it's completely moon mathy if you think about that we are just getting started in the bull run. The halving just happened. PLS is at a bottom, and obviously everything's tied to PLS. So it makes sense that there has been a little bit of decrease. But if PLS does work in our favor, which obviously pTGC success isn't dependent on, but it's definitely going to help. If PLS becomes more successful, pTGC becomes more successful. It's just designed that way, and we're built on top of it. So if the big cup, the PLS cup, starts to move up and doing X's on a monthly basis instead of going down, I think the X's that you're projecting are actually not out of the question, just based on our huge liquidity ties, our tokenomics, our utility, our buy and burns, and etc.
Oh, I'm happy to hear you say that. As a small bag, relatively small bag holder, I'm very happy to hear you say that. Yes. Okay. So, shall we? Did the website update come out? I think that was last week. Yeah, I believe that was last week. But would you like to review it with us and note any changes? Shall we do that?
Yeah, we could go to the website.
Okay, I have it.
Really, there wasn't too many changes as far as like functionality. It was more of like a theme change and just visual change as far as colors go.
Okay. Let's go to the home page. 28 viewers in here, so thanks for showing up, guys. Please give the video a like to help the algorithm. I like the image here versus the flipping coin, which was, by the way, it was very unique. I knew when I went to that website, the old one, initially, I was like, this is unique. I already like it. It was not a standard site, and this is unique too in its own way. I like how the alien is like revealing something. I think that's really cool. So
yeah, the other alien, we found that it kind of was just in the background of everything. So, and I felt like we could use a little bit higher def alien. and I wanted it to where it didn't stay behind everything, because it seemed like you were trying to do stuff, but you had the whole thing acting behind all the time.
Yes.
I think it was a kind of fun, cool change.
Yeah. And here's the contract address, guys. Whenever you're contracting, working, whenever you're interacting and approving transactions with your wallet, make sure that you confirm this contract address. I always look at the last four and then somewhere in the middle. So, and then here is the about the gray with a fee system. And yeah, I honestly, I didn't actually compare the original site with this one. So I think you're right that there's not much change.
Yeah, it's mostly just color changes and theme changes. Obviously, since we're built on Pulse Chain and we support Pulse Chain, one of the big changes was we wanted to make our website Pulse Chain themed.
Right. Yes. I like that. And here's a reminder for the game. You guys can play the game. I'll be honest, I haven't played the game. I have a few times, but I haven't been more focused on other things. If you want to see the minimum for making a proposal, then you just click on make a proposal. Let's see what it is right now. 214. It reduced from yesterday. I like that. All right. Well,
I think actually a decent amount of people played the game this section. So there's a little bit more to win than there normally is, which is nice. Actually, I don't know if you saw this, a community member suggested us to make a modification to the game.
I saw that.
Our team has two things we're working on at the moment that I'm not going to go into detail on, but after we're done working on those two items, we're going to work on making that adjustment to the game, because I actually really think it's an awesome idea. And we have it on the list of things to do, just to where this community member suggested that we just have 25% of the PLS continue to go to the next cycle, which will just make it auto compounding to where there's always a growing amount of PLS available to win in the game.
Okay. I look forward to seeing those changes. Yeah, if we can more gamify the game, I guess maybe I'll play. And I'm not against people playing the game. Play the game. It actually burns. I've done it. It burns pTGC. It really helps. So, and then there's the stats. And has anybody bought Gray's gear? I have not bought any Gray's gear, but it's right here. When you click on this link, it brings you to a different site. So it actually bounces you to a site where you can buy. Let's just click on it. You can buy, excuse me, cups, hoodies, and t-shirts and such. So there you have it. All right, I think we are about done. TGCen, do you have any final thoughts, comments? I know there's some new stuff coming around the corner. You've alluded to on Twitter, but do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah. So me and the team have been working on two main things recently. Two separate things. I would just say keep an eye out. I'm pretty happy with what we're adding to the ecosystem, and I think it will be very, very beneficial for pTGC and the community members of pTGC. And I'm happy to spend my time trying to build innovative products for not only pTGC, but just for Pulse Chain in general, because I feel like I think there's just a lot of things different about Pulse Chain, with these LP webs being able to be built and generating utility based on just arbing them against each other. And I'm just excited to push those boundaries and really come up with things that push those kind of ideas to the next level.
Right on. I like it. Okay, I'm going to make a final comment about a video that I made yesterday about, and I'll drop the link in the chat. Twitter. Okay, if you're marketing on, if you're using Twitter at all, as I know many people in here are, you kind of owe it yourself to watch this video. I'm not promoting my content, but I'm promoting my content because I want you guys to be successful in whatever you're doing on Twitter. Again, we got to work with that algorithm. So watch the video. I spent a few hours studying how to use Twitter effectively, and I got all my notes together and put it in one stream. And especially if you're marketing, crypto assets and trying to, gain exposure for your whatever crypto you're promoting or all crypto, you owe it to yourself to watch that video and see how you can be more effective and be, how do you put it, just be more wise in posting and interacting on that social media site. So, all right, guys, we're going to cut it short. TGCen, if you could hang around for a minute, that'd be great. All right, we're going to end it. Guys, thanks for showing up. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.